I know this is a boxing channel, but every once in a while we talk other sports. And this video is about the Philadelphia Eagles concerns. We are 2 weeks away from the start of the 2020-2021 season. Um, a lot of people are optimistic about the Eagles season. Mostly everyone I've talked to or whose videos I watch have penciled them in to win the division or make the playoffs or both or what have you. Um, but it's usually either or. Uh, when I went back to after the draft, I thought Philadelphia would be somewhere between 8-8 and 10-6. Okay, I still sit on that, but this season is going to be so weird that there is no real way to prognosticate what is going to happen for anybody's team. Um, it's just the hand we've been dealt. Um, this season, this season, and at least the next season, will have an asterisk by it, no matter who wins. Like it or not, that's just the way it is. So let's take a look at the concerns going into the season. The concerns are offensive line, wide receiver, secondary, linebackers, and a mystery position. All right, so let's start with the offensive line. Now, the Eagles are in some trouble here as the season begins in 2 weeks. The offensive line is, well, at the moment, it's a mess. And well, actually, let's talk about the run game also as a part of that. Everyone I've talked to has bought into Miles Sanders having a huge season. Okay, and he's going to have it. He's going to have a huge season. He's going to have it for a few reasons that we'll get into. All right, so let's start with arguably the best lineman in the NFL, Brandon Brooks, rated number 5 in pass blocking in the PFF NFL rankings and number 1 in run block grades of all linemen in the NFL. Number 1 grades for the run blocking. By being number 5 in pass blocking and number 1 in run blocking, that makes him number 1 overall. He is the number 1 overall lineman in the NFL. And listen, there aren't any rankings that use as many factors to deliver the data PFF does. So check out pff.com. That's paulfredfred.com to see how other players in other positions rate, okay? Brandon Brooks, number 1. Brandon Brooks is out for the season. That affects Carson Wentz. That also affects Miles Sanders, as he won't have the number 1 rated run blocker in the NFL to run behind. So those are the breaks, right? All right, Andre Dillard is up next. The man who was drafted as the heir to Jason Peters. He was given the keys to the car as Peters stepped out of the picture as a free agent. Andre Dillard, the world is yours. Andre Dillard is out for the season. Prior to being injured, Andre Dillard was being manhandled in camp, okay, from a few reports. So if you go back a couple of years to the draft video I did, I didn't like this pick at all. While everyone raved about his athleticism, and he did score high on the PFF and was the number one tackle on most people's boards, if you look at his anchor leg, it allows an NFL high level pass rusher and even medium level pass rusher to beat him. Look at the anchor leg. There was one other guy I liked better than him in that draft, or I would have explored free agency and used that pick for another position. Fill another need, right? Well, the good news for him is the injury may have brought him more time. Not literally. We know that. But now you can't rate him for at least a year. And maybe that's good news for him because ratings-wise, he was trending downward. Okay? Now, if he comes back and he struggles, then the bust discussion will begin in Philadelphia. Let's move on. So before all of this, these two injuries, you brought Jason Peters back to play guard, and he was going to step in for Brooks. Now with Dillard down, Philadelphia has choices to make. Now, I just don't see them going with Jordan Mailata, okay? He's just, he's not ready. He's been injured for the better part of 2 seasons, and he's just not. When you speak in terms of investing well over $100 million in a quarterback who's had his own injury struggles, you have to protect his blind side with someone who is better than Andre Dillard and most certainly better than Jordan Mailata. So, prior to today, or was it yesterday, I think the best bet is that Philadelphia might elect to move Peters back to left tackle, okay? And I had this jotted down as a note prior to what I'm going to discuss in a second. Okay? So you move Peters back to left tackle with Prince Tega Wanogho as his backup, okay? At left guard, you go with Isaac Seumalo, even though I like him at the right guard position. Lane Johnson is your right tackle. We're solid there. Matt Pryor will have to be your right guard. And then you tell Jack Driscoll, who I'm actually high on, to be ready. And then at center is Jason Kelsey. Okay. Now here's some more concerns. Jason Peters, in a bold move, said, well, if you're going to put me back at left tackle, you need to pay me left tackle type money. So he wants more money. All right. And then a couple of other concerns are that if Prince Tega and Jack Driscoll are called into service, they both have great potential, but they are rookies. They're rookies. All right. So that concern is valid because I think it'll be a miracle whether you pay Jason Peters or not, it'll be a miracle if he plays 16 games at tackle without injury, or at any position for that matter. I don't think it happens. As a matter of fact, I can guarantee you it won't happen. He will not play 16 games. And, but in the chance I'm wrong, and even if he doesn't get injured, the man is 38 years old. How high of a level can he play? Okay. my man, my man Peters is tripping with his demand. Then you look at Jason Kelsey. He's kind of in retirement mode, and I don't mean arm wrestling. He'll be 33 this year, and his backup is on the roster, but he's only 22, and he's an undrafted guy who he went undrafted last year. So if I'm Philadelphia at this point, they may want to make a move for depth. Offensive line is a big concern here. Big concern. And the depth they need may have to come in the form of a solid left tackle. Let's move on. Wide receiver. Some information just came in, so I didn't add these to any notes when I was trying to determine all the concerns. But for wide receiver, I always preferred a healthy Alshon Jeffrey over all of these speed type guys. Okay? Here's the thing. If Carson Wentz doesn't have the line protecting him good enough, like a couple seconds longer, what's the point in sending Jalen Reagor or Deshaun Jackson on a deep route? He'll be sacked before he gets a pass off. So it starts with the line, right? And that scenario is very possible when you talk a makeshift offensive line, which is what we're looking at here. You know, there seems to be this love affair with Eagles fans and Quez Watkins. And I mean, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because his name sounds cool, like a Philly guy name or something, like, yo, that's my man Quez from West Philly. I don't know what it is, man, but Watkins needs development. And to be honest, I had him either getting cut or being on the practice roster before Marquise Goodwin opted out. And now we just find out. I had this video ready to go. So prior to Peters and his money thing, and prior to, we just learned Jalen Reagor is going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. And from what I hear, I don't have anything in front of me, so I think it was the kid from Philly who played for Denver last year. Parks got an interception, and as he's returning it, Reagor went to try to tackle him and kind of hyperextended his arm, and it caused a small tear. So he's out between 3 weeks and a month. Hopefully that'll be taken care of. Now we're 2 weeks away, so there's 2 weeks, and then you got week 1, and maybe he comes back week 2 or 3. We'll see. So now we got some concerns there, mainly because, well, I'll get into that in a second. So I thought Greg Ward Jr. had a shot over Watkins, and I definitely like John Hightower over Watkins. So you have Reagor, Deshaun Jackson, Arcega-Whiteside, Ward Jr., Hightower, Goodwin, and eventually Jeffrey would bump him. Goodwin stepped out. I still thought Quez Watkins at best would make the practice squad, but now it looks like he may have a shot. And and if he does and he produces at all when Reagor comes back, maybe they cut another position, and I'll get into that later because I like a guy at another position who may get cut, and I really like him, and I'm probably one of the few people that do. Anyway, to me, you have to keep Ward Jr. as the slot guy, okay? He can help bail out the offensive line and the quarterback if the line is subpar, because he's going to run those quick slants, those little short routes, and you can get the ball to him. I think Watkins will make the team now, especially if he plays special teams. Once again, here's another concern. Deshaun Jackson, he's a speed guy. Everybody thinks a number one receiver is this. I never really kind of thought he was a true number one, but he's done well at times. But he falls into the same category as Jason Peters. When was the last time Deshaun played 16 games? Well, the answer is it was 7 years ago. His final year in his first stint with the Philadelphia Eagles. He played 3 games last year, 12 the year before, so on and so forth. So I put him and Jason Peters in the same category. And when those guys can't go, you're talking about inexperience stepping up in their place. And I just expect that sometime during the year he's going to be out. Him as well as Peters. Hopefully it's not extended. So let's hope Doug Peterson doesn't lie about the injuries this year. Oh, he's known for that. Deshaun will be back in a couple more weeks. Couple weeks come by. Well, give it like one more week. He should be back, and then another week comes by, and he's progressing. He's progressing in practice. I would say any week now, and then you go the whole season without Deshaun. It's like, come on, man. Guy had a sports hernia injury or whatever you want to call it, and he was out. So then what happens if Jackson and Jeffrey are out? Reagor is going to have to grow up, and Ward Jr. will have to be a leader. That's it. I mean, everyone else is a wild card. You get Jeffrey back, and despite what Wentz and him think about each other, he's going to have more value than he's had for some time. Okay? Speed is great, but right now you just got some track guys out there playing football. I think you can work Hightower in there. But once again, these track guys need to develop. Run more than just fly patterns. I've seen Hightower do that. Quez Watkins, well, I'm going to let you guys stay in love. Okay? I'm concerned here. The good news is you can turn the double tight end game on. Philadelphia's offense is potent when Goddard and Ertz are on. I mean potent. So if they're both on the money, it's just going to be old-fashioned Philadelphia/Chicago Bear football. Yeah, just let those tight ends work those mismatches. All right, let's look at the secondary. Let me add this. Before the injuries, the offensive line was going to experiment, as I stated, with Jason Peters at right guard. Well, the Eagles are also experimenting once again with Jalen Mills at free safety. Now, he'll be backed up by Will Parks, and Parks will be inserted if Mills fails at free safety. Um, I like Kayvon Wallace to back Mills up, but he'll back up strong safety Rodney McLeod. I think McLeod will get the start. And as heart palpitating as he was at corner, I don't think I would have given up yet on Mills. I mean, I understand he doesn't have the. Uh, I mean, I understand there's some things that he has to work on, but I don't like these experiments. We got some major quarterbacks we're going against this year. Um, and so Jalen's going to have to be on his game. If not, Parks is going to step in. Darius Slay is good if he isn't in decline mode. We just don't know. Roby Coleman will back him up in situations, but he'll also handle the slot in others. And I think he's pretty much solid on winning that slot position. I thought Sidney Jones would really push Avonte Maddox for that right corner spot, but Sidney's injury past has caught up to him again. So I think Maddox will be the starter, and now Sidney's in that danger zone where he may start out on the team. But as I stated, if Quez Watkins shows something, or even Hightower, I think Hightower will, then instead of saying, okay, now that Jalen's back, we're going to kind of put one of you guys on a taxi squad or injured reserve or whatever, it could be someone like Sidney Jones who just they give up on. Anyway, Maddox, I think Avonte will be the starter. I'm not sure he's the guy, but anyway, Philadelphia just added a kid I know. I know this guy personally. I hope he hangs on and makes the team. And if he does, that could also be bad news for Sidney, who I really, really like. I think. Anyway, this kid, his name is Trevor Williams, and I kicked it with Trevor not last year, the year before last, I believe. He was a starting cornerback for the Chargers a couple of years ago before injuries caught up to him. So best wishes to you, Trev. Hope you make it, man. All right. I can't say I'm 100% sold on the running backs. The running back situation. Everybody's favorite seems to be Adrian Killins. He's like the Quez Watkins of running backs. Everybody loves him. And he goes right along with the Eagles' theme of speed. He's a speed guy. He's tiny, man. I mean, he's Darren Sproles, but when you looked at Sproles, you felt he was a solid, compact guy. Killins is he's small, man. I personally liked when they brought Michael Warren in, but he might be the odd man out because his reps, he didn't get the reps. Elijah Holyfield got the reps, and Killins got the reps. And so I think they'll keep Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, Corey Clement, and then to me it comes down to Killins, Warren, and Holyfield if Philadelphia decides to keep four backs. Linebacker is surprising. Definitely a concern. And if you go back to my mock draft, I had Philadelphia grabbing either Kenneth Murray or Patrick Queen with a first-round pick. The second rounder would have still got you value at wide receiver, and Reagor may have dropped to you, or you could have moved up, or you could have gotten quality at the receiver. They didn't go that route, and we know what route they went. I think Duke Riley has a chance to play well. I think he'll beat T.J. Edwards for the starting nod at middle linebacker. Nathan Gary is a guy who he's a ball. He puts himself in position to make plays, but he misses a lot of tackles, and he has to fix that. But he's always there, and if he can just get his tackling down, we could go from linebacker being, as some call, the weakest position to being one of the better positions. I think Riley can surprise people. I think Gary, if he gets that fixed, he might be in line for 100 tackles, 100 plus tackles. I mean, that's how good he is to get to the scene of the crime, but he just has to finish and make the tackles. Alex Singleton is a guy who was cut by the Eagles a few years back. He went to the CFL. But now that Jatavis Brown quit, the door might be open. A couple of the guys being considered for linebacker, they don't move laterally enough for what you want from a linebacker, but they'll work hard. All right, this isn't the strongest unit, and I'm a bit concerned here because it's just a lot of ifs. But if Riley brings it and Gary can clean up the blown tackles, maybe this unit can surprise us. Okay, stay tuned. The last concern is the mystery position. That position is, drum roll please, quarterback. Listen, let me tell you about the NFL draft. When you pick in the second round, you are drafting for a starter, not a quarterback that's holding a clipboard on the sideline, not a developmental project. You are drafting a starter. Okay? Carson Wentz is a class guy, but trust me, that pick shook him up. And if you go back to the draft, and I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere, the way management reacted when the pick was announced has to be on his mind. I mean, if they had enough room to do cartwheels, man. I mean, I'm sitting there like, so listen, Wentz is in his prime, and he just got signed to a big contract. All right, sure, he's been hurt, but why give him all that money if you don't believe in him? Hurts didn't grade out at that point in the draft, and I would have liked Philadelphia to go another direction with count them, 3 fourth-round picks. You could move up and still get Hurts, or you could have sat there and got a quarterback. I think Jacob Eason was still there. He can run this type of offense. I think the kid from was the kid from Georgia still? Well, anyway, doesn't matter. If here's the concern: if Wentz gets hurt for a game or two, and Hurts comes in and does okay, just okay. Look for a locker room divide. You're gonna have some who are going to want him, and others who will want Wentz. Can you imagine that? It's happened. It happens. It's happened before. The only value you get here is if the starter gets hurt. That's the only value you have for Hurts. Ask Nick Foles, he'll tell you. So when I was asked months ago, I said 8-8 or 9-7, with 10-6 being the best case scenario. I still feel that way. It depends on how things break for us. So far, we've had a few tough breaks. You got 2 tough stretches on paper. What is it like? You got what is it? Is it I think you got the 49ers, Ravens, and Steelers. I think 3 straight weeks. I don't have the schedule in front of me. And then on the back end, what is it like? Saints, Cowboys. I can't remember, but you got 2-2. So you got a real shot at 3-0 early on, but there's a strong chance we can be 3-3 after 6 weeks. I'll go 9-7 and reserve the right to change based on subtractions or additions to the roster um, at the time or after this video. It looks like we're going to lose the chance to get Yannick from Jacksonville. Looks like he's going somewhere. I think it was the Vikings. And another thing, you say you got these packs because sometimes coaches get a little too cute. I mean, we've seen Peterson do it. We've seen Andy Reid do it sometimes when he was in Philadelphia. If Hurts gets on a roll, if Wentz gets on a roll and he's got some continuity going, he's kind of like, he's hit on like 9 of his last 10 passes or something like that. And then you bring in Hurts for a gimmick play or even a play where he just drops back and throws a pass. It's kind of like you're messing with Wentz's, the flow that he's in. And so that again, that's part of the concern. It's just more of a mental thing. But trust me, if Wentz has a homeboy or a confidant that he talks to, he was not happy with that pick. But he's going to show Hurts the ropes. He's going to be a professional and what have you. I'd like to see a proven backup, somebody that's not extremely old like last year. Joe Flacco, who's a local guy right across the bridge in Audubon, New Jersey, he was going to be the pick. And then if you still went after Hurts, he would be your third string guy and learning from both the starter and the second string guy. But once Flacco elected to have surgery, Philadelphia changed plans. And so we'll see. I still would like, well, let's just hope the offensive line holds up and Wentz does not get hurt. I'll put it that way. All right, that's it. Those are the concerns. I may do one on Florida State football. It's funny. Both teams' strengths are the defensive line, both Florida State and the Eagles. Both their supposed weaknesses or high question mark position are linebackers. So that's I found that interesting. And then both of them have some offensive line issues, so they almost mirror each other. So I may do that. They're 2 weeks away from their season also, or I might just do something during their after the first quarter of their season. So whoever your team is, no matter what, if you want me to do something on one of your teams, college or pro, let me know. But whoever your teams are, hope your guys stay healthy, and I hope they have a good season against everyone except my Eagles and my Florida State Seminoles. And it's going to be weird for at least the next 2 seasons in sports, at least. And you have to put an asterisk definitely this year, and I say next year also, because everything's just thrown off. Some teams have decided to have fans, a limited amount, and so that'll be good for those who actually want to go see teams play live. I'm not sure if the Redskins will have fans. If they do, I may go to the Eagles opener in Maryland. Redskins still play in Maryland, right? And I may go to Florida State at Miami if I can get my hand on a ticket, in Florida State at home versus Pittsburgh, the Pitt Panthers. So anyway, that's a wrap on this one, and we'll catch you on the next one.